Hi there everybody, this is Gammy. I hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Just letting you know that, yes, this was recorded after my epilogue of the Introvert in Indianapolis series. So this does ultimately mean that this was recorded well before MARC released their Growth and Transformation plan, which is extremely awesome to see. So hopefully they continue to move forward with this. Anyways, back to Bass Gammy. Let me bring out that intro, then make a couple of modifications. Yep, that's the color that we're looking for. And title. Boom. So as you can tell by the title, we are going to Riverdale. And why Riverdale? Well, it's such a unique station, and it's in the sense that if you were to make a circle on every ending branch of the DC Metro, you will notice there are 4 stations that have no direct connection to the Metro station, but they are within that boundary of the Metro. Now that's a very common thing to do around the world and even here in the US. I can think of a couple of stations in Philadelphia, for example, that have a lot of railway stations with no direct metro access. And heck, if you even think about it, like to an even extreme degree, Atlanta's only train station, which is run by Amtrak, they have no direct access to any of the MARTA stations, which is kind of sad now that I think about it. But here in DC, it's super rare because only 4 stations have that honor. One for the VRE, which is Backlick Road. Then there's 3 for MARC, which is Kensington, Garrett Park, and the aforementioned Riverdale. So we're gonna go ahead and explore it since I'm already outside. And it's a pretty good day for a walk. And no, even though Crystal City is disjointed, there's still an arguable amount of connection between Metroway and the DC Metro. Now that I get to like explore more of this area, I kind of like it. I really like how they're developing this. Another TOD win. Back home again in West Maryland. Yeah, there's a lot more sensible shading than taking the east-west highway. My goodness, it's excessive. But has to be done. These are the new better bus stops. No, these are the new better bus routes. Below that, the shuttle UM stop, and then below that is the Z bus stop, better known as Z the sign of Z the bus. Also, a side note, Z the bus, they will be changing their routes to follow along with Metro. That's to make it like more uniform, which I totally get that. I'm a little bit iffy on it because I would think that they should just do a G rather than a P, but we'll see where it goes. And then also, on a much more sadder note in terms of memes, it looks like they're kind of like slowly debranding their Z the bus brand and just doing normal old Prince George's County Transit, which in their defense, it makes the most sense because when you search online, when you look up the bus, you're ending up getting the one from Hawaii or a generic bus. Speaking of that, it's not just the bus, it's the bus. I gotta say, it's a very peaceful part of suburbia here. Reminds me of certain parts of Annandale and Mount Vernon that I've used to walk around from here and there. This is so cool. They actually have their own trash cans, which I know is like funded by Z's a Bust, so that means it's Z, the recycling trash bins. I truly am glad that I picked this road because aside from its peacefulness, there is so much shade going on, which is good. Still a bit of a ways down, but we're close. We're making progress. There we go, just like that. We are now in the town boundaries of Riverdale. I assume this is like a medical office, but quite pretty. Alrighty, just a few walks away down this road. Very nice, classy, very old towny. There we go, I see the MARC sign. Almost close to our destination. Another sign as well. So we are making progress. There we go, gonna zoom in. And there it is, the railroad crossing sign plus the railroad lights. Super close. Already, I'm really liking this Old Town field. That is peak TOD. There we go, we are finally here at Riverdale Station. And look at that, history. Awesome. So let's take a look at this station. Awesome. That goes straight down to DC. This goes straight up to Baltimore. Right here is the western part of the station. Right here. And then right there is the eastern station. Right there, just kind of the updated information of this train station, what the schedules are, where it goes, which in this case it goes on the Camden Line. Fares. So if you're going from Riverdale to Baltimore at Camden Yards, $8. Not a bad deal. Though I don't know how I feel about $6 to Union Station. Electronic signage. Right now it's not going to mention anything because the last train for the morning has been passed. The next one won't be until 4 o'clock. Right now it's 9-ish, so yeah, I'm taking a bus back home. Gotta say, it's a very lovely, nice station. Very neat. I just wish that there was maybe like a little bit more frequencies, but you can't necessarily argue with the fact that at least this runs 8 times in the morning and 8 times in the afternoon. So maybe one day like it'll increase it a little bit more. So before I turn into a fried gammy, I'm gonna go ahead and get something to drink. Alrighty, got it out of the Manifest Bakery, I believe that's what it's called. Anyways, I'll correct myself shortly. But got myself a cold brew and a nice sandwich. A nice sandwich. Correction, it was Manifest bread. I gotta say, I like this cold brew. And now, I am going to go ahead and try their sandwich because it looks very enticing for me. I believe it's an apple cheddar bread. So good. So good. It is up there in pricing, like about 20 bucks. But I think it's worth it. And just in case you're wondering where I'm at, this right here is the trail of a former right away for one of the trolleys. This used to be a trolley station, but as the trolleys got phased out, it didn't stay dormant, but it was mostly used by various railroad companies up until today, which is now owned by CSX, like always here. But in the 80s, when MARC opened up, it became a station again. So that kind of explains why there's only 8 trains passing by in the mornings and 8 trains in the evening, because it's mostly used by our Lord and Savior, the CSX. And right there is a trail behind me, former right-of-way of the trolley. But unlike a lot of debates that we can make of the Washington and Old Dominion Railroad, there is no reason for that to be revived. I feel like if you just add more frequency to the Camden Line, like, it will serve a pretty similar purpose. So, still waiting to see if there's like a CSX train to foam. I will say, and as you're hearing right now, there is a Metro bus that's making a mandatory stop, so at least all the buses from both WMATA and Prince George's County's Transit are following the rules. And so will this bus do. Although I gotta say how awesome it is that there's a Tienda Latina here. This gets points for me, personal points. So anyways, in the grand scheme of things, I give this a 5 out of 10. 3 stars. Pretty solid station. Obviously the frequencies are not ideal like in the middle of the day, but still functional in terms of like rush hour. So that will pretty much be it for this video. May y'all have a fantastic day. Leave a comment, like, subscription, all that good stuff. Have a good day. Bye bye.